Let's demystify Vedic math today. Welcome to this video. Let's get started. Can you solve this within a second? If you were able to do it, fantastic. If not, the answer is 5625. What about this one? 95 times 95. What if I tell you the answer is 9025? How does somebody solve a problem like this in less than a second? I wonder. So let's think about the traditional way of multiplying this. Let's take 95 times 95. Okay, so the traditional way is you take the ones digit of 95, which is 5, multiply it with 5, you get 25, 2 gets carried over. 5 times 9 is 45, 45 plus 2 is 47, therefore 475. And then you take the tens digit, which is 99. So 9 times 5 is 45, 4 carries over, 9 times 9 is 81, 855. Add them after you put it in this fashion. 5, 7 plus 5 is 2, a carryover of 1, 4 plus 5 is 9, a carryover of 1, added to that makes it 10, carrying over 1 to 8, and therefore 9025. Now, if the traditional method were to be done, in the exact precise manner that I've just detailed it, there's no way somebody can solve it in 1 second. So how does somebody do it? So what's the trick? What's the algorithm? The algorithm is very simple. If you want to solve 95 times 95, remember that all squares of 5 end in 25. Like blindly put it. If a number is ending in 5 and you're trying to find a square of that number, whether it's 75, 75, whether it's 65 square, whether it's 55 square, it always ends in 25. Then you take the tens digit, which is 9, you add 1 to it, which is 10, you multiply the two of them, 9 times 10, that is 90, and you append both, and you get the answer is 9025. Right? But what's really happening here? Now, one way of visualizing multiplication is to think of it in form of an area. So if I'm trying to multiply 95 with 95, it's not drawn to scale. I've just written it so that it's easier for you to remember. So you have 95 divided as 90 and 5. So you have two squares that are formed and two rectangles. So the bigger square is 90 times 90, which is 8100. The smaller square is 5 times 5, which is 25. Now coming to the rectangles, one is 450 because it's 5 times 90. The other is also 450 because 90 times 5, commutative property of multiplication. So it's 450. When you add all of them, 8100 plus 450 plus 450, which is 900, 9000 plus 25 is 9025. So what's exactly happening? There's some mathematical sorcery going on. It's nothing but applying the rules of distributive property of multiplication. So if I have to multiply this, I can divide this out as 90 times 90 plus 90 times 5 plus 5 times 90 plus 5 times 5. Now let's focus on the two middle terms. 90 times 5 and 5 times 90 are one and the same. In fact, I can apply the distributive law where I can get the 90 out and then add 5 and 5 and make it 10. So now the whole thing becomes 90 times 90 plus 90 times 10 plus 5 times 5. So let's keep aside the 5 times 5. Let's focus on the first two terms. What's common between the two? 90 is common. So let me take 90 out. What I'm left with is 90 plus 10. So in other words, I'm left with 90 multiplied by 90 plus 10. So if I remove the tens out of it, and think of it in terms of 9 tens multiplied by 9 tens plus 1 10, which means 9 tens multiplied by 10 tens. So this is what the whole thing comes down to. So 9 tens multiplied by 10 tens is 90 hundreds. Okay, so let me repeat that. 9 tens multiplied by 10 tens is 90 hundreds. And the hundreds kind of gets disappeared because you add 25 to any 100, it's going to just be 25. So let's do the same thing for another similar question. 65 times 65, you can split it the same way and you'll eventually come to the same conclusion that it's 6 tens plus 7 tens plus 25. So 6 tens and 7 tens is nothing but 42 hundreds plus 25. So that's exactly what's happening in the entire trick when it comes to. So what about 305 times 305? Think of the tens. You have 30 tens and 31 tens. When you multiply both of them, you get 930 hundreds. Add 25 to it, and you get 93025. So that's pretty much the demystification of this particular Vedic math sutra or trick. And if you apply that, you can really get familiar. But here's the lessons to learn. Okay, don't memorize Vedic tricks. Instead, familiarize through them. When you learn a particular Vedic sutra or a Vedic math trick that is there, try to familiarize yourself by applying it to multiple scenarios so that you're very comfortable with doing 45 times 45 or 105 times 105 or 125 times 125. So you get a hang of doing that multiplication because it gives you enough opportunities to familiarize yourself through that particular sutra or trick. But the real application of it is when you can actually use it to solve bigger problems. For instance, if I want to solve 35 times 37, it's actually quite tricky. I can think of 37 as 35 times 35 plus 2, and therefore by using the distributive law, I can rewrite this same problem as 35 times 35 plus 35 times 2. 35 times 2 is really easy, it's 70. 35 times 35 is really easy now thanks to the Vedic math trick, which is like 1225. So 1225 plus 70 is 1295, and all of this can be done mentally, and that's how you improve your mental math ability. And my suggestion to you would be understand both worlds, Vedic math and the reasoning behind it, the demystification as I've kind of shown in this video, and use the tool that best fits the problem. Don't be rigid about saying, I want to use Vedic math, I don't want to use Vedic math, I want to use one particular method or the other. Humans have evolved and conquered things just because of the tools that they have used. And more the variety in the tool set that you have, better your chances of solving problems. So therefore, don't worry about rigidity in terms of method. Learn all of that, get versatile and get good at it. And sometimes even learning one really, really good tool is enough. And ultimately, my suggestion to you has always been, the philosophy has always been, be fluid in your approach and learn from every different source that you can come across. I hope you found this useful. If so, please share this with your friends and family. Let people understand what's the science behind the Vedic math. And click on the subscribe button and the bell icon so that I can see you in the next video. Thank you so much.